board of Autopax, who, if she doesn't approve, these things wouldn't have been here. The CEO wouldn't have even managed to talk. Can we then give Matsoho Me Sibongile Lituli to come to the front, the big boss, and give us some remarks?
Thank you, shareholder representative. Good morning, everyone. To the Honorable Minister of Transport, Umamu Chikunga, the DG, DDG, and the department at large, Induna of the community in absentia, and his representatives, the principal of the school, Ms. Msiza, the school governing body, councillors, the local government, leadership, teachers, those entrusted with the administration of the school and the community at large, the Department of Education, SANRAL, and other stakeholders involved, the PRASA and the Autopax community, led by our Board of Control, the Group CEO and the Autopax CEO, and to all dignitaries present here today. And lastly, to our special guests, the learners at Ndwandwe Primary School, I greet you all. My name is Sibongile Lutuli, the chairperson of the Autopax board, a subsidiary of PRASA, a state-owned entity in the passenger rail sector. Autopax provides a national long-distance bus service through its two service brands, Translux and City to City, which has visibility in the area. We are mandated to provide reliable, safe, and affordable bus service to the greater parts of our communities. In the Mpumalanga region, we service Wheatbank, Wonderfontein, Nelspruit, White River, Hazy View, Bushbucks Ridge, etc. Our services are currently available through third-party agents. Tickets are sold at your CompuTickets, Checkers and ShopRite, Spar, and the Engine Garage. City to City encounters taxi intimidation challenges around the area from time to time, which has resulted in the local commuters not being able to choose their mode of transportation freely, but the interventions from the law enforcement agencies have been effective. It is an honor for Autopax and PRASA to be celebrating this important day in honor of our late father, Utatu Nelson Mandela, with Ndwandwe Primary School. Autopax, as a good corporate citizen, has a responsibility to contribute positively to the people, the environment, and the community of this country. Our government has entrusted us with playing a developmental role in our communities, in the communities that we operate in. And we are committed to ensure that we forge sustainable and effective partnerships with these communities. My message for today is mainly addressed to the young people present here today. Our theme for this year's Nelson Mandela Day celebration, it is in your hands. In my home language, we say, Vuka uzenzele, wake up and do something for yourself. Nelson Mandela and many of our liberators fought for a good cause that resulted in our freedom and success being in our own hands, irrespective of our circumstances and backgrounds. Education is a key enabler to freedom, and it breaks the barriers and creates possibilities. Being here today takes me back to my childhood memories as I grew up in a similar environment in the Eastern Cape. I attended a rural primary school with no modern infrastructure in the late 80s, where the government of the day had condemned us to obscurity through education, commitment, hard work, humility, positivity, we beat the odds. It is possible for you to do the same. You are the future and the game changers of this country. We have leaders amongst you that through education can take our country forward. This is your time. There are many opportunities at your disposal that were not available in the past. Nelson Mandela says, it is not where you start, but how high you aim that matters for your success. We are pleased as City to City, under the Autopax and PRASA umbrella, to lend a hand to this community. To see the beaming faces of the little children is so soul-warming. Let's continue to hold hands together in the upliftment of this community. Thank you.
Malibongwe. Malibongwe. Siyabonga Mamlutuli for the good words. Can we then call Minowa Sejo to come in front and render us an item in welcoming the Honorable of Transport, Chikunga. Minowa Sejo, are they ready? Come to the front and give us the... Ndele. Ralebuha. Ralebuha. Mbino wasicho matsoho. Ya Kenza Ngwana Mane. Minister, I was just disappointed that that's the local song and I thought the group CEO will join. But he didn't. So what we'll do when we come with the next item, the group CEO will join and lead the song. I hope he has seen the dance. Ralebuha matsoho. I think la Nelson Mandela. We have come to that moment where I'll request the Honorable Minister of Transport, Chikunga, to come and give a message of support to our VIPs.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our program director, who is the DDG responsible for rail in the Department of Transport. Also, amongst us, we have MMCs and councillors. We greet you. Director General of the Department of Transport, Advocate Mlau. Chairperson of Autopax, Mrs. Bongile Lutuli. PRASA board members who might be here with us. Group CEO of PRASA, Mr. Imeran, PRASA managers and staff, officials from all spheres of government, representatives of our state-owned entities, traditional leadership led by the representative of Induna, Baba Matebula, religious leadership that is present here, we're joined by the Department of Education, District Director, Circuit Manager, Circuit Coordinator. We also have amongst us FET representatives. We also have young learners, youth and learners, teachers, principal of the school, school governing body, chairperson and members, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I would have wished to speak in the local language, but I can't. I therefore apologize for that. But I think it's important that I start by saying, happy birthday, Baba Nelson Mandela, happy birthday. Halala, Bushback Rich, halala. Ndwandwe Primary School, I also would want to acknowledge the presence of the leadership as well as the membership of the mighty African National Congress, the leading and the ruling party in South Africa. Program Director, today we are in the iconic province of the rising sun, where DG I come from. So I am in my province. And we are here during a very significant month, which is July, a time when we zoom the lens on the humanitarian endeavors. In this critical month, we equally commemorate the selflessness, the tirelessness of our leader, our father, our stalwart, our struggle icon, Baba Nelson Mandela. In recognition of hard work of Nelson Mandela, not just South Africa, not just Africa, but the United Nations resolved to make the birth date of Baba Nelson Mandela an international day, where everyone around the world for 67 minutes or more, they engage in all kinds of humanitarian and of course with the aim of changing lives for our fellow neighbors, our fellow learners, our fellow children, and our fellow communities. So what is happening here today at Ndwandwe Primary School is also happening in London. It's also happening in US. It's also happening in Canada, because this is a decision of the United Nations. And we feel proud as South Africa that in the life of the world, in the existence of the world, there's never been a human being who is celebrated worldwide, but ours, who we know, who we have listened to, who has actually addressed us, is celebrated worldwide. And we are very happy. We are very happy that today we are celebrating this day in this school called Ndwandwe Primary School. We chose to spend our 67 minutes here at Ndwandwe Primary School. This is Lepong village, I'm told. It is in Bushbuck Ridge local municipality. We are here because one of our standing state-owned entity, PRASA and Autopax, identified this school as a beneficiary to be visited during the Mandela Day. And thank you, PRASA. Thank you, Chairperson of Autopax, for taking us to this part of South Africa. They too deserve everything that is happening here today. They too deserve to be. We are here because we are supposed to be here. We addressed the grade 7 learners today, and we asked them as to what they want to become when they complete their matric. And others, the majority of them, said they want to be doctors. Others said they want to be nurses. Others said they want to be pilots. Others said they want to be traffic officers. One said, I want to be a police member. And another one said, I'm not sure I dream of being a doctor, but sometimes I want to be a lawyer, and sometimes I want to be an engineer. These are the children. And to parents, I'm saying, these are their dreams. It doesn't matter how poor you are as a parent. I will make it happen for you. Say it so that you encourage your child to go to school. And the Bible says, umlomo uyadala. Our mouths create. And seated here and standing here, many of the people, the chairperson of the Autopax said so. The DDG here said so. Many of us can tell stories of our humble beginning, but because we were motivated sometimes by only our parents, we managed to achieve. Tell your children, parents, tell them that Mandela himself lost his father when he was very young. And he actually was fathered by somebody who was not his father. But he still managed to be the president of South Africa. From the humble beginnings to being a lawyer and to being the president of South Africa, to being a stalwart, to being celebrated by the world. But if you look back where he comes from, under normal circumstances, he would not have achieved whatever that he achieved. I just want to remind you that many of us, unlike you today, many of us went to schools where there was no school. Churches during our times were used as schools because there was no school. In one church, smaller than the size of this tent, you would have all classes in the church. This was what is happening. This is what was happening in South Africa. But we still managed to achieve out of Bantu education that was meant to make us nothing but just laborers. The challenges that we are seeing here at school should never dictate to you as our children as to what you will become in future. In fact, they must motivate you to becoming the best out of this school. I'm told that some of the best doctors come from the high school around this area with all the challenges that they face, but they still manage to produce doctors from this primary school to high school to university to being doctors. So it can be done. And I just want to share with you the very fact that today there are opportunities, much better opportunities than we had. I always share my story. Probably I won't share it today. But nobody ever came to our school to teach us about the careers that are out there. So we used whatever that was in front of us. And what was it that was in front of us? 1, teachers. 2, nurses. 3, policemen. And that is what was just before us. And therefore we concluded that if you are to be educated, you must either be a teacher, a nurse, a policeman, or umapalan. And that was all. In any event, that is what apartheid taught us, so that we became nothing. As a matter of fact, at some stage, apartheid government was insisting apply well on time for admission at a tertiary institution because there is something called NSFAS, meant for poor children. It is meant for children that come from poor families. But besides that, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Cyril Ramaphosa, has actually instructed all departments to prioritize education. And because of that, as the Department of Transport and our state-owned companies, we issue bursaries to learners who want to follow any courses and careers in the transport sector. We have memorandum of agreements, ivumelwano, nama tertiary institutions. So if you go to University of Zululand, Ongoye, there is a building at Richards Bay. When you go there, you will find children and learners and students who are studying transport management, transport logistics, and of course engineering. Those children are paid for by the Department of Transport. We are paying for them for tuition, for accommodation, but also for them to be able to buy some food for themselves. We are doing it today, and we are not starting today. It's been there for quite some time. If you go to University of Durban, Westville, we have an agreement with them again. If you want to study careers on maritime and become a seafarer, both Tisha Kuklishan and children, please Google what is a seafarer. You will then be paid for not by NSFAS, but by the Department of Transport, because we have an MOU with them, an agreement with them. We give them money. They then admit children on our behalf, and they train them as seafarers. We are doing it today. We also have the same agreement with the University of Natal. We have the same agreement with the University of Northwest. As a matter of fact, with Northwest, we went to say to them, we're producing enough of transport logistic careers. Please now introduce transport engineering, because it's our money. They are doing it today because we're able to request them to produce and to train and to educate people in terms of what our needs are as the Department of Transport. So as I'm saying this, I'm saying to you children, over and above you choosing to be doctors, to be nurses, to be pilots, to be police members and traffic officers, but you can also be engineers. You can go to university and study transport engineering. We are an engineering department. You can go to university and study, for instance, aeronautical engineering. The University of Witwatersrand is actually offering that course, so that instead of being a civil engineer, which we need as the Department of Transport, you can also be an aeronautical engineer. We went and met with the principal of the university and said, what are the challenges that aeronautical engineering students are facing? And he said to us, they sometimes don't have money to pay for the university. And we said to them, here is money for the poorest of the poor, so that they can doing it already. So we do have quite a number of bursaries. Our state-owned companies do the same, because over and above the fact that we have to provide transport, but we also say we need to produce skills that we require for the transport sector to continue to do what it is supposed to do best, that of providing safe and secure. That is graduating this year. There is 5 that is leaving again this year. The Department of Education, for instance, because we even have one who is studying maritime education. The Department of Education, if it wants, can actually allow teachers to apply. They apply WASAMSA. All that you require to do as the Department of Transport is to grant that teacher a 14 months study leave and continue to pay them a salary. That is all. The rest is taken care of by ourselves. We fly them to Sweden. We pay them a stipend because Sweden is much more expensive than South Africa. We also pay for accommodation. So we do it. 14 months they are there. They graduate. We fly them back. Then you give them some work. Because it is in our interest that as the Department of Transport to introduce maritime subjects at secondary level of education. Because we think that because South Africa is a maritime nation, we must have maritime skills. But I just want to say something about rail again. Because today we are here invited by our PRASA, which is a rail agency, passenger rail agency. There are quite a number of carriers in that sector. Remember, the train doesn't move by itself. So it is moved by a driver of a train. So they receive training on that in that regard. But in the train, there'll be somebody, Oshayama ticket. They receive training. But also there will be people abenza show. What is this? The signaling. They actually manufacture trains. We do it in South Africa. They are responsible. They check on the engines and everything. These are the carriers in the rail sector. I just want to say this. Many of us are not aware that South Africa is manufacturing trains. South Africa is manufacturing trains. And we want to manufacture trains not only for South Africa, but for the continent. We are from DRC. They need trains. And we are saying to them, don't go elsewhere because we are making trains in South Africa. The trains that you see moving, particularly the beautiful blue trains that you are seeing today, we did not buy them elsewhere. They are manufactured here in South Africa. Now, the issue is that we will need people who will continue doing this good work. We want to sell train parts to other parts of Africa so that if they buy trains from us and they need a part of an engine, they don't go elsewhere, but they come to South Africa and buy those parts. Can it happen? Yes, because it is happening today. And sometimes because we don't share information, and therefore we receive news that say all is gloom. The fact of the matter is that there is so much that is happening in South Africa, and that is actually good. However, there are quite a number of other challenges. For the mere fact that I look across there and I see some young people at this time of the day, this might actually be an indication of the fact that we do have young people who are unemployed. And it is a fact. And as government, we are trying our level best to address the issue of young people, particularly those that are unemployed. The way we are doing it first is to say to young people, please get education. We are making it possible for you to ensure that you are able to go to school. And please go to school and be serious. I heard children who said they want to be pilots. Every year we're sending at least 5 people to France to be trained as pilots. Why are we doing this? Because for sure it's not cheap, it's expensive. It's because the academies that we have in South Africa that are supposed to train pilots are failing every black child. So we are not producing pilots from academies in South Africa, but we send them to France. They come back with the highest certificate from France, ready to get into the largest aircraft and fly it to US. But in South Africa, they fail every step and every grade because it's them who own these academies. And I'm making a point because some among us suddenly believe that the hatred that was there then has disappeared. I am saying we have spent a lot of money from TITA funding the academies with the aim of producing some skills in the aviation sector. They are failing us because they believe that aviation is never meant for a black person. That's what they believe in. And therefore they make sure that we don't progress. And that is why we have decided, instead of then waiting for their academies, because it's expensive to run one, but maybe let's move towards that. Once we are doing it as a state, we send them to other countries so that we can transform the sector. But to young people who want to be in the aviation, there are other careers in the aviation, such as being an air traffic controller. So some of you said we want to be traffic officers. In the aviation, there are traffic officers. They actually check, they instruct the pilot to fly or to land. And for that, we have an academy here in South Africa that is training air traffic controllers, is rated as one of the best academies in the world. If you come from a poor family and instead of wanting to be a pilot, you think that I can then become an air traffic controller, all that you will require from your parents is the money for you to travel to Pretoria to the academy. After that, we are going to provide you with accommodation, we'll provide you with tuition fee, but also will pay you a stipend when you are training, not anything less than 7,000 rand per month. Now, you can't say today, as a young person, I didn't go to school because my parents were poor or they are poor. You will have to say, when I had an opportunity to study and be serious, I played games. I decided, instead of being serious with my work, I decided to join Nyawupe. Now, in South Africa, in the aviation sector, you can't bema Nyawupe, because if you bema Nyawupe and you don't give correct instructions to the pilot, we might end up with an air crash. We don't want that. And that is why we don't have air crashes, because our pilots, our air traffic controllers, our mechanics, there is no aircraft that takes off having not been checked by a mechanics who says this aircraft is correct, by a pilot who says I can fly this. So if any one of you want to be in the aviation sector, that is the career that if you have been trained in it, there are no chances that you'll sit at home and not find job. I'm saying to yourselves, also in the Department of Transport, we are training. We are a maritime nation. Maritime because we have 3 oceans that make up our waters. Those who are doing geography, will know that on the side of Durban, we have Indian Ocean, it's warm. On the side of Saldanha Bay, we have Atlantic Ocean. They meet around Cape Town in a spot called Sea Point. But if you go down that one's Antarctica, you then have the Southern Ocean. As a country, we are responsible for those oceans. But also, as a country, we have 9 important ports. For instance, the Richards Bay, the Durban port, what is this? Port Elizabeth Port, Port of Ngquqa, Mossel Bay, Cape Town, Saldanha Bay, 9 of them. Those, they make South Africa a port state, but our waters make us a maritime state. The ships that call at our ports need pilots. And that is why it's important that we have people who are trained to drive, if I were to put it that way, those ships, to sail those ships. Who are those people? They must come from these young children. We need crews. In each ship, you'll have something like 18 to 21 people who are in each ship. And those people are supposed to be South Africans. They're supposed to come from us. We are engaging with the shipping companies to come and register in South Africa so that they can take and employ our seafarers. That is what the Department of Transport is doing and is busy doing. We have state-owned companies. PRASA idlula nebhasi la. Some of you did not know ukuthi City to City is a bus that is owned by a state-owned company. Isho ukuthi iPRASA is company ye government. It's a company ye government. Isebenze nge government. Now, because it's a state-owned company providing services here, it's so a need. Ukuthi not only must we make these people to board our buses, but let's go to the area and plow back. Group CEO, you have no idea as to how I feel by being here. For me, we are in the right place. DG, we are in the right place and right school. They don't have everything that other schools have in the urban areas. But the school is clean. Principal, your school is looked after very well. Some of the children here, surely they come from families ezingathathi ntweni, but they are beautiful. Women that are preparing food for these children, it cannot be that it is only today that bebe clean amabhodwa yacwebezela. It's something that they do every day. Despite the fact that bapheka phansi, I want to thank you for the good work that you are doing out of nothing. We can't forget this school. We cannot. I can't commit anything. But I said it and I will say it here, CEO. My grandchild forced me yesterday because she lost her cell phone at home. Then we use our cell phones. So we go to Edgar's to buy the cell phone. Then I point at a cheaper one. I think it's 1,700. She says, Yebo Gogo, but this one will not help me. because I need a cell phone with this, that, and that feature, so that I'm able to the information that I require. So the lady who is assisting us, she's a Samsung specialist, she actually says she is correct. That one will not assist her. Now, I then have to buy a cell phone that she dictates to me. The fact of the matter is, when my granddaughter, forget about my position, when my granddaughter goes to university with a child who comes from this school, who may have never seen a laptop, ongakaze athi log in, when they arrive at the university, my granddaughter will be ahead of her. It does not matter the fact that kungenzeka the child from here is naturally intelligent kunaye, but the opportunities that she has makes her imbega ahead of the child from here. And that is why I am saying, oh bandla shem no manje 10 wama laptop. And it might not be today, there are processes that must be followed. But at least for the children here to be able to log in and know how to open a laptop, so that they too, when they go to university, they don't have to start from where we started. I say it from experience. I say it from experience. Arriving at the college, we who came from rural schools started by being dumb to the extent that you feel depressed. Ukuthi suddenly a high school ngekama class ngihlakaniphile. Today I'm so stupid. The fact of the matter is, for the first time you are seeing a laboratory at a tertiary institution, when others saw a laboratory at a high school level. That kukubeka ngemuva kwabo. And that is why, for me, it is important that we identify these schools, and where we can assist Department of Education, we do assist. Even if it is just bare minimum, but we assist, so that these children experience these things at primary where possible, but at least at secondary school, before they proceed to tertiary education. For me, that will be important. I just want to sit down. Nelson Mandela, our icon that we are celebrating, would have turned 105 this year had he lived. Born le Makaya, Eastern Cape. Father dies early and he grows up. He still manages. Listen to the college he went to. South African Native College. We come from far as black people in South Africa. At some stage we were called natives. At some stage we were called Bantu. At some stage we were given dumb passes because by mere color of our skin, we were seen as being dumb. Let me remind you, white doctors who worked in black hospitals, they were given an allowance for working with dirty people. Simply because we are black. It doesn't matter how clean we tried. As a matter of fact, sometimes we were cleaner than them. But we were seen as being dirty, and they were given an allowance. You had to be a white doctor to get that allowance. black doctors did not qualify to get, because they too, doctors as they were seen as being dirty. That's where we come from as black people. We can't forget these things. We can't. At some stage, I understand there was one high school in this area. But I understand that there are other high schools today. In the area where I come from, where I was born, Escort, there was only one high school, Escort Secondary. Itata ikolama primary onke. Uyofike Mangweni, uhambe uyofike Moy River, uhambe uyofike Colenso, for those who know KZN. There was only one high school. There was only one maths teacher. There was no science teacher. There was no accounting teacher. So there were no such subjects at school. Not because we could not manage them. We didn't study them because they were not there. There were no teachers. What does that mean for a child who is at school where there is only maths and one maths teacher, and there is no science, there is no accounting? It means from that school there will never be a doctor, because in order for you to be a doctor, you must have studied maths, science, and probably biology. But if you have biology and maths without science, you can't be a doctor. If you don't have science, you can't be an engineer. And therefore, there was never anyone who could study engineering. Today, our children have the opportunities to study these things. And sometimes we take these things for granted. Thank you. When the media influences us, we even agree. I am from DRC. I'm not very sure whether I'm ready to share this. But I go there. They say, the government there says, they are stopping the training of doctors. Repairing what is called obstetric fistulas. Now, nobody here will know what a fistula is, because it's not the problem that we have in South Africa. But the ordinary woman and ordinary Congolese, when you talk about a fistula, they know it, because it's a problem that is common. It affects women who give birth at home and they get torn. And they, if not repaired, it makes them not able to control themselves when they are to go to the toilet. It's for every woman in that country. And I think about this to say, the last time I was taught about this was at the college. I've never met it. I've never seen it in South Africa. Because we have clinics that we have built since 1994. And women in South Africa attend antenatal clinic for free. They go to hospitals if they need cesarean section. It's done for free. And we then believe that it has always been like that. It's not true. I know of a woman sleeping dead with a big abdomen, a baby inside, because at the time you were paying for antenatal care clinic. The government of the African National Congress said women who go to clinic who are pregnant, first we're going to make sure that clinics are available. We take things for granted. Sometimes we focus on the fact that nurses are not happy and not good with us. But they still are able to tell us about the results, and they're still able to palpate us, so that we go home knowing that I'm 8 months pregnant. These are the things that are introduced and they're happening. And these children go to school today. They get food. I never got food at school. Nothing. I paid a school fee when I was at primary and secondary school. So there is so much that has happened in this country. Believe you me, go just outside of South Africa and see what is happening. It is in South Africa where we say as a traffic officer you must be trained. Outside of South Africa you are not trained. It is in South Africa where we say in order for you to drive you must have a driving license. Outside of South Africa you just drive because you are able to drive. You don't need any driving license. And that is why even when you drive on a supposed to be a freeway, you'll find cars that are oncoming, that are facing you. And nobody is going to say it is wrong because there's nothing wrong. Everything is like that. There are good things that are happening in our country, but there are challenges. Poverty is one of those. Unemployment is one of those. I just want again to say, today we're celebrating the life of our icon. He went to prison in 1964, and he spent his life in 1964, from 1964 until 1990. When that happened, uyabona kuma ngabe kuthiwa nje angikho ekhaya obaba Chikunga akekho ekhaya, we might never understand the impact that had in the life of Nelson Mandela and his marriage. Usejele unkosikazi ungaphandle ukhulisa ingane alone. He still came up out of jail. Ekhona ukuthethelela. Asithethelelane but singakhohlwa okwenzekile. Asibathethelele kodwa singabi blind. Today they are influencing us in the social media. Ukuthi thina sithi asiyi ukuyovota, angikhulumela ukuvota. Ukuthi thina asithi asiyi ukuyovota, but bona bafundisa izingane zabo ezingaka, bahamba nazo bayovota nazo, because they want to render us a minority in a country where we are in the majority. Let's not accept that. Let's not. It doesn't matter how angry you may be about anything, but let's not agree to a situation where we in a country where we are in the majority, we are rendered a minority. Mina neingane zami uma ungavoti uphuma ushonele hayi kwami, mina ngiphuma nazo ngibambe kanje sihambe siyovota. Because the ANC government ingenze ngakhona ukuzofika eBushbuck Ridge ngazo address abantu. Who am I ukuthi ngingahlala ngilalelwe abantu who themselves have a right yokuthi bangalalelwa? But the ANC government made me that. I thank you very much.
Matsoho bana ba sekolo for minister. Malibongwe. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for, I don't know whether that was History 101, Transport 203 combined, but I think they were very, very encouraging words. If I was like you, Banawaka, Baskolo, I'll go very far. Because, like Minister said, not all of us were very fortunate to get this guidance and these opportunities at an early age. Majority of us, the first time you saw the computer was at university. I remember getting to Tekis, and then I was doing my honors minister. And then they said all postgraduate students must have computers. I kept on going to look for it, watch the computer and smile because I didn't know what to do with the computer. So it really becomes a disadvantage of starting back. And we hope the wishes that the minister has said are very important. And it really shows when women are leading, are in charge, the kind of guidance and direction we get. Some of us are the products, and we have benefited from this wise word of wisdom from the Minister of Transport for years when she was still a deputy minister. Colleagues from the Department of Education, you can apply for transfer. You can hear we even have careers, and you can run the career part that we have in the department. And the principal of the school, like the minister said, I mean, the school, the kind of leadership provided here, the cleanness, it really shows the real leadership of women in this country. The principal of the school, you are the host. You have agreed that we come to the school and celebrate this day. So we'll then take this opportunity to allow Mem Zimba to come to the front and really address us as visitors to the school. Over to you, ma'am. Matsoho. Banabaskolo, are you not singing for the principal when she comes in front? They must not pass.
Thank you very much, Program Director, for offering me this time to say something about the event of the day. So, first of all, I'd like to greet all people who are here to honor this day, to make it a success. I'm afraid to mention one by one because sometimes I'll forget the important ones. But the most people that I want to thank, the PRASA, Sanral, the Transport Department. When I mention all those, I include all those people that are operating under those departments. Most of all, the minister. It is a great honor for the district, from the circuit, the teachers from this school and our neighboring school, the parents, learners, SGB members, the government, all protocol observed. I greet you in the name of education. So what I'm going to say, I'm not going to say much because much has already been said and some will still say something about. But on behalf of the school, we are very grateful for what you have done for us, PRASA, Autopax, Department of Transport. Everything that we have done for us will remain in our hearts. We are going to write it in the stone, the stones of our hearts, so that we cannot forget what we have done for us. So we acknowledge everything that we have done from the kitchen, everything that we have done for us, and then we are still waiting to receive much. I cannot list what we are expecting to get from you that we want. We have agreed with the minister that we are going to write them down, then give it to the minister and also to PRASA. But the role player or the man of the match of this event is PRASA. We can all agree with me that PRASA has made a day to be this day. So thank you very much. You know, when sometimes we are excited to run short of words, you don't have many things to say, but what I'm trying to say is to express my gratitude on behalf of the school. The CEO of PRASA, who have communicated, talked a lot of things. All the people that were coming from last week, we communicated, then we share our challenges and everything that we need. But the one that we need the most is the fencing. As we have indicated that we have a lot of burglaries where food stuff was stolen and some teaching materials were stolen. If we can have a proper fence whereby the security will be tight, we can have water, maybe we have a borehole, because if we are having a borehole, we'll never ever struggle with water. As we are sitting right now, we even asked the MMC to call those people who are working with water to bring the water tankers to refill our tanks because of the challenge that we have of water. So thank you very much. I don't have much to say, but we are grateful, very grateful, because I believe in the Bible. The Bible says, let God reward you, all those who have contributed everything with their manually, financially, everything that you have provided for us. May the good God multiply it in 100-folds. That's what my Bible says, that every time you give, you benefit more. That is the little that I can say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the principal for the kind words, and it really shows that PRASA has done something very good. So today PRASA is Father Christmas. Christmas came early through Nelson Mandela. Alala PRASA alala. Alala PRASA alala. Alala Ndwandwe alala. Principal, I think today it's a good day even for the transport sector, and that's why we chose the school. It really shows our focus as the transport sector, where we want to make a difference. And we know, for example, we'll be, after the formalities, we'll be doing our work, contributing towards 67 minutes. And even Nelson Mandela, in one of the code, he said, there can be no greater gift than giving one's time and energy to help others without expecting anything in return. And I think that's the kind of work that we are doing in giving back to the community and hoping that we'll be able to make a difference. Bana ba ka ba sekolo, are you still here? Are you still here? I can't hear you. Are you still here? Okay, it's that time now that I'm going to ask few questions on behalf of the minister, and we're going to have some good prizes. Can somebody raise the hand and tell me how many years did Nelson Mandela go to prison? Can we see the hands? Melody, can somebody help me with a mic there? Let's start with one in grade 4 or so.
Years.
Yeah. And what is your name?
Tell your name. Your name. Mukensa.
Itaka mopili nana, come front. And then Baleba Gomrawa Bahulu, can one mention one of the codes that either the CEO has mentioned, that was one of the codes, Nelson Mandela, or the one that was mentioned by the minister? Can we get one at the back to mention the code? Okay, there's one at the back there. Your name and then answer. Come this side, Mike.
Mina ngayo mali mahlwe methemba nhlungwane. La nto ya vulavula ikhotileyo you make your best their best.
Make the best your best. Mufe matso. Come in front, Tlongwane. Minister Ubuletika, a lot of careers in transport, which cover various modes of transport, maritime, aviation, and rail. If Limukwile can some pass, Baba Sanjiva repeat it next year. Kamo decide which careers transport, Minister Adibuti saying, besides being a doctor and a nurse. Someone, Tanala.
Air traffic control.
Hey. Yeah, you see,
We kgethela umzimba.
Mzimba come in front. Move mato. This is our future air traffic controller. Minister Urle no pay if you want to be a air traffic controller. Another career, Kamo. You see, Minister Olibuditari, you must listen. Can we have another career in transport? Yes, boy?
The career in being a pilot.
Oh, there's a career in being a pilot in aviation. And your name?
Ronald Sibui.
And what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a doctor.
Oh, a doctor. Mufemato. And now I'm going to ask, who's the Minister of Transport? Wabona what about this kafuta wanake wona. Kima Minister of Transport. The newly appointed Minister of Transport. Alemutsi.
Mr. Chikunga.
Mr. Chikunga Aromo today.
Mrs.
Oh, Mrs. Sindisiwe Chikunga. Mufemato. And then you can come in front. You can come in front. And who's the CEO of PRASA? The man who brought the goodies. The group CEO of PRASA. CEO, come to the front. Who's the CEO of PRASA? Ah, these people are not listening. Yeah? Who's the CEO of PRASA? The group CEO of PRASA is Mr. Mandela. Do you agree that the CEO of PRASA is Mr. Mandela? So who's the CEO of PRASA? To show that you are listening. Okay, we'll pass that one. What is the company that has donated all the goodies today at the school? This side, who's the company that donated the goods at the school?
PRASA.
But if you are shy, how are you going to be a pilot, air traffic controller, and an engineer? The company?
PRASA.
Oh, metele matso PRASA teka mopele.
Ukos Mashili.
Okay, thank you very much. Those who were listening and they managed to answer, I'm going to give them some goodies to buy sweets. Amen. So you see the good of listening. The prize is not from the program director, it's from the Minister of Transport. CEO said the board didn't instruct him to do that, Minister. I'll do the honor. Here we go. Thank you. get the last. Are you ready? You got? Okay. You got something, that's yours. And then you get this one. Eh, babethile matso. You see, Ziyani to give us our vote of thanks. And then after that, I'll make the last announcement. Ndate Councillor Matsoho.
Yeah, the program director said Christmas came early because of the celebration of Nelson Mandela. And I think, yeah, he is correct. Today we are celebrating here and we are all happy because of what is happening. And they go jankar we waku lea shame iku mikhensa hinkwenu kuva mi endle ku ntirho lowu hi nga ka woho wu humelela. Ni lava ku mi khensa ka sweswo ni kombela hinkwenu hi ti bela mavoko. Lava va nga hi endzela namuntlha va tele ngopfu kambe hambi swi ri tani yi mani vula ku hi xixima vukona bya ministara Sindisiwe Chikunga na hinkwavo va ka PRASA na hinkwavo va ka Autopax va ka Autopax ya na vahlayisi va hina va le ka masipala nda va vona va koho laniwa hi rhandza ku mi khensa ku va mi ri koho na va xiphorisa hi voxe ni va vonile va koho laniwa hi rhandza ku va khensa na n'wina hinkwenu hi rhandza ku mi khensa ku va mi nyike nkarhi mi ta va koho laniwa hi endla ku ntirho lowu wa wu famba kahle. Xikwembu a xi mi pfuni xi mi katekisa mi famba kahle loko mi tlhela emakaya mi ya wisa kahle ta tlhela hi vonana siku rin'wanyana. Inkomu.
Re a leboha Ntate given for the vote of thanks. This part, our formalities, and going to do our 67 minutes of goodwill as the part of the activity. It doesn't end here. So even those of us who wouldn't get an opportunity to do it here, let's continue making the difference to other people's life and really contribute in the spirit of Nelson Mandela. I'm going to ask one of the councillors to close this session with the prayer, and then we'll then allow the minister, the councillors, and departmental officials, some, to go to the classroom, go see the work that has been done by PRASA and Autopax, and then those who don't have their overalls will be given overalls, and then we'll be able to then start doing the work. And then after that, Melody will come in front to give the announcement in terms of the arrangement for the food, especially for the learners, and other people must remain seated, and she'll be able to do that. Pastor, can you then close this session for us?
Aye, kongeleni chaba shikwem. Ebetwen ratatana wana moya lo kwetsi ma shikwem shaina akongela. You are a good God. Ekubonile enjangwini wa Ndwandwe. Hi ku vonile Xikwembu nghenelela timbilwini ta va ministera. Hi ku vonile nghenelela timbilwini ta government. Hi ku vonile nghenelela tikweni Xikwembu. Tiko leri n'wini wa matimba ri la ku hluvukisiwa hi wena ri tlakusiwa. Hi vito ra Hosi ya hina Yesu Kriste. Ha khongela Xikwembu leswaku n'wini wa matimba hinkwawo hinkwaswo leswi nga endliwa swi katekisiwa hi wena. Nakambe Xikwembu hi khongela ndhawu le ku vulavuriwa hi vukhamba Hosi. Ha khongela leswaku vayivi hinkwavo Xikwembu xa matimba u va boha minenge na mavoko va nga ha ngheni eka ndhawu le ku ta teka swakudya swa vana. Xikwembu xa matimba hinkwawo khongela vana lavatsongo lava leswaku tikhariya hinkwato leti nga vuriwa va titwa va ri na ku navela ku ta exikolweni. N'wini wa matimba ku vuliwe ntirho lowukulukumba Department of Education yi kona xikarhi ka hina. Hosi ya matimba to monitor. Ha khongela hi vito ra Hosi ya hina Yesu Kriste swa ku loko n'wana ta huma la aya ntirhweni wa yena kumbe aya kaya Hosi ya matimba a hlayiseka. Xikwembu xa matimba eka tinghozi na mavabyini hi pfuni hi vito ra Hosi ya hina Yesu Kriste. Ha pfumela ku minister wa hina na thimba ra yena va ta va famba Xikwembu va tlhelela makaya u va hlayisa. Hi vito ra Yesu Kriste hi pfune hinkwerhu hi pfumela hi ku amen.
Re a leboha for the last prayer. We have come to the end of our program. Let's allow the minister and the dignitaries to obviously go do their work, and then we'll then have the children. Melody will give the direction. Some of us will remain here and eat when others are going to work. Thank you very much. Can we give the Minister of Transport a round of applause? Manabaskolo, Mato.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sanbonani, Ninjani, Ngala Stalin Pansi, Minister Nama dignitaries bona.